Oh, y'all know I'm always rocking and rolling on that song. I just love it. And this is Black Music Month. So, of course, I should be because we're going to celebrate music on our show today. Good afternoon and welcome to Let's Talk. I'm your host, Denise Rollard Barnes, publisher of the Washington Informer, inviting you to lean in as we honor the rich legacy, culture, and impact of Black music and look ahead to Juneteenth. Before we dive in today, a quick reminder to pick up this week's issue of the Washington Informer. This week's publication also includes our annual home ownership supplement, so we want to make sure that you get a chance to see that. And as you know, we spoke to one of our title sponsors last week, was the who was the DC, a representative from the DC Housing Finance Agency. So I want to remind you that you're invited to attend the third annual home ownership fair, which takes place. And thanks for showing the copy of our home ownership issue. So make sure you get it when you pick up a copy of the Informer. And we'll tell you other ways to get it as well. But don't forget that you're invited to attend the third annual home ownership fair, which will take place tomorrow, June 13th, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Martin Luther King Library. That sounds like it's a must-do event if you have questions about home ownership in DC. It sounds like, well, I won't say all of the experts, but most of the experts will be there to help you kind of maneuver that path to either purchase a home or to sustain the home or that you're already in. So again, it's tomorrow, June 13th, at the Martin Luther King Library from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. So we are going to continue the conversation today with the Coalition for Nonprofit and Economic Development, who's going to dive a little deeper into the opportunities, benefits, and risks of home ownership in DC. So we're not dropping that conversation since this is National Home Ownership Month. In the meantime, again, I personally invite you to pick up this week's issue of the Washington Informer at a newsstand near you, or you can access the digital edition anytime by visiting WashingtonInformer.com. No spaces, just WashingtonInformer.com. It's down at the bottom of the screen. And if you're not a subscriber, I encourage you to sign up on our website. It's absolutely free, so you don't miss a beat on the local news you can use. We aren't shy about asking for your financial support either. So to help us keep the doors open, feel free to click that donate button and do what you can. We appreciate your support. You know, you can also find us on most social media channels, and we invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Washington Informer TV, no spaces, Washington Informer TV, for great content. So if you go over to YouTube, you see the show, go ahead and subscribe so that you won't have to search for our weekly broadcast. Today, we're celebrating Black Music Month, and we're also looking toward Juneteenth, which is next Friday. Since June is National Home Ownership Month, we have a great lineup of guests to discuss each one of those topics. We're hoping to have with us Garry Dennis, music director of the legendary Sounds of Blackness, who's going to share some of, y'all know Sounds of Blackness, and they have just been around forever, and beautiful, beautiful music that we all have kind of used as theme songs for the things that we've done throughout our lives. But even more so, if music soothed your spirit, then you'll want to know how one of DC's top attorneys has transitioned on Wednesday nights to the host of WPFW's longest running show, Love Themed Music Program. Then I invite you to stay with us so you can find out who this person, Attorney Donald Temple, is, and how he transitioned from, the rigors of the law to the smoothing music of loveology. Looking forward to talking to Donald. And we're also looking forward to our conversation with Russell Taylor, who is the founder and executive director of the SoulLife Foundation, who will preview the Juneteenth festivities hosted by his organization and observances of the 50th anniversary of Stevie Wonder's Songs in the Key of Life, with a special Soulversations? That's interesting. Special Soulversations celebration. looking forward to talking to him a little bit more about that. And again, as I said earlier, last but not least, we're going to wrap up the show with our continuing conversation about home ownership with Maya Brennan, Chief Housing Officer at the Coalition for Nonprofit Housing and Economic Development. That's a whole lot we're going to do within the next hour, so stick with us. But we're going to first go to my friend, um, the lawyer turned host at night on Wednesdays, Loveology host at night on Wednesdays. Trying to get that right, Donald. And then back into the courtroom on Thursday morning. Donald Temple.
Hello, Denise.
Hey, Donald, how are you?
Well, thank you.
I don't know if I got that all right, but I tried my best. But WPFW Loveology, how long have you been doing the show?
It's 8 years now. Just 8 years in May.
Yeah, yeah. And what inspired you? I don't know if people have heard it. I love Wednesday nights. I mean, that's what they call hump day. You know, you've been working hard Monday and Tuesday, you know, trying to get through the week. And this is a great, I don't know, moment in time. What, 3 hours?
2 hours, 8 to 10
2 hours.
Wednesday
Yeah,
nights.
right.
Well,
So where did Loveology come from?
it came from the heart. you know, I have been close to music all of my life, growing up in one of the music centers in the United States, Philadelphia. And so coming up in Philly, of course, being exposed to uh, Gamble and Huff at an early age, as well as the Motown sound, and just having an ear for music, which graduated when I went to Howard to um, jazz with people like Freddie Hubbard, Herbie Hancock, coupled with the backdrop of Gil Scott-Heron and the Dr. Donald Byrd and Roberta Flack. And, you know, the jazz scene wasn't so strong, Denise, until as I was introduced to it. But then it ultimately connected me to the music, the timeless jazz, you know, music of my mother and my father, Johnny Hartman, John Coltrane, even Johnny Mathis, you know. And so it became kind of an eclectic thing to listen and to hear music. And then I realized in our community, there's so much beautiful music that we don't listen to. I mean, you could be in a doctor's office, in a restaurant, on an elevator, and there's music that's constantly in our lives. And I said, well, wait a minute. You know, we have a universe, a collection of just the most incredible timeless music with timeless musicians and artists and arrangements. I want to underscore the arrangements because the arrangements are incredible. People think about R&B and they say, well, R&B and jazz are two different worlds, but R&B emerged from jazz and the instrumentation. And then if you listen to it, the instrumentation is almost like first cousins. You know, you can listen to the horns, you can listen to the guitars, the bass, the drums, but the music is a special thing. So I'd been in the music scene listening, and I started years ago. I would make CDs and people would ask for my CDs or make me music,
I think I remember that, Donald.
So everybody in town was getting my CDs. And then, you know, I had a close relationship with WPFW legally in terms of, you know, providing legal advice. And I was talking to them about doing the show. Then I did a host show for an hour, and the opportunity came and they asked me, would I like to do a show? And I said, yes. I gave them my CDs, and they said, okay, well, listen, we like your music, and Wednesday we can do the show. They slotted, and they said, what do you want to call it? I couldn't call you to get a name. But I thought that Loveology was a good word because it was going to be more than a radio program. I mean, the law and music are related in some respects, but because the message, the mission, our people, not only do they need the protection of the law, but they need the inspiration of music, which is a sacred space. And so Loveology is kind of a cultural gathering place. It's a musical sanctuary. And I try to play music for the heart and the mind and the soul. And we weave together jazz, soul, spiritual reflections, and community consciousness, consistent with the theme of jazz and justice. And
One
so
of
our
the things
music, I'm
I was going to,
sorry.
I'm sorry, I was just going to say one of the things when you talk about timeless music, but you connect the music to the time. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So if it could be, of course, Valentine's Day, but there are other historic moments in our history and culture where you will put songs together, um, that folks may not have even thought were related to that period. So it's timeless, but timely as well.
yes, it is. It's true. We did a tribute to Billie Holiday and Paul Robeson, for example. I
Right.
mean, we've done different tributes and different themes, but the music is, easy on the ear. We have so much noise outside of our windows, and so it's a special place where you can go. And sometimes it may be, I call R&B Baz because of its relationship to jazz. And so we may play Baz or jazz, and our people, our listeners, like, it's nothing like. And I, as a lawyer, it may sound strange, but as someone who's bringing music through the airwaves, there's nothing like an acoustic treasure, a song that touches someone. And music is a vibration, and so it can connect to a vibration within your spirit. I have had so many people over the 8 years. I've done probably 50 shows a year, and so I've had so many people call and talk about a song, or about a song that their mother loved, or a song that one caller said, "Man, I'm just sitting here listening to your music, and my wife and I are just looking at each other."
Mhm.
Another caller said, "I'm driving. I had to stop my car. you know, I had to stop." And people like different artists, and we do play a lot of music that's a little, not always the side A side, and not even the side B side. So there are side C's and D sides, and artists that
So
bring music that's
you're going old,
incredible.
you're going old school on us now, Donald. When you talk about the A side and the B side,
Well, it's true, right?
don't know. A lot of our young folks don't know about turn the record over and see see what's there.
Or the 33 and the third album and the 40.
Exactly. 45. But one of the other things that I treasure is sort of just and wonder how do you put all of this music together? I mean, you find things that I mean that go back, that folks know the artist, but they never know the artist sang that song, or they
Yeah.
didn't know that. I mean, you just it's almost like going to the Library of Congress, to the music division, and there you are,
My
exposed.
God, Denise, I appreciate that you even pick that fact up, because um, that's exactly the point, because who would know that Chuck Brown is singing "The Shadow of Your Smile"?
Yeah,
Who would know that Marvin Gaye is doing "For Once in a Lifetime"? Or, I mean, these classic songs, and we tend to think that the R&B artists are trained in music. So you'll find some music that's incredible. Or who would know that Ella Fitzgerald is doing "Ooh Baby Baby"? You know what I mean? But I think that's a beautiful thing about music. And I mean, with Loveology, I always say that Loveology is an acoustic treasure for your listening pleasure. And so if you're going to listen, and the flip side of that is that we have a spiritual foundation,
yeah,
because we want people, the music, to get into the soul, the heart, the mind, almost integratively, so that you feel a song. We start off with a particular song, and then we go into a spiritual moment of reflection, because our lives are so fast paced. Pop, 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 pop. Whether it's the law, whether it's politics, whether it's journalism, our lives are fast paced. So we get a chance intentionally to slow down and to reflect. And that reflection is good for us, for our spirit, and it's in the music.
right.
Some people say they listen to Love Theology and they're calm. They said within 30 minutes they're out. And I say that's good. That's
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
If your blood pressure is going down or whatever, and young people, I got young listeners who are listening, and it's changing the way that they communicate in their relationships, which is interesting, you know.
Yeah, yeah. You have now, WPFW is listener supported. Most of you all are volunteers. I'm assuming that you are in that list of volunteers. You've been volunteering to do this show every Wednesday night, mostly every Wednesday night for 8 years. But how do our listeners actually supporting leftology?
You know, it's a great question, Denise, because WPFW is in its 50th year. And
Right,
I don't know miraculously how any institution could have 24/7 music and programming with volunteers, but WPFW does that, and it does it well with a comprehensive arsenal of information that empowers our community. Tragically, and I think it is tragically because I juxtapose that with what we saw happen to WDCU. And you remember, of course, Ernest
right.
White and how
Yeah.
robust that show was and the programming
Amazing.
was.
That was one of the
And
biggest mistakes I think University of District of Columbia could have made, and that was to let that show go.
yeah,
But
let
go
that
ahead.
station go. I mean, so it was on the air and everybody listened to Ernest at 12 every day, all
Yeah,
the guests, etc. And then all of a sudden, it was gone.
right,
I think that we have to treasure in this market and throughout the country stations like WPFW, which gives so much. I mean, and yet its listenership only contributes at the rate of about 8% of its listeners contribute to WPFW. And I think that's a sad story. It's a good story because we're still there, but it could be a much better story if people, they don't have to give a lot, but give
only eight,
$20, give
eight.
something.
You
Eight
said only
percent,
8% of
8%.
the listeners. Wow, wow.
8, 9% max. It's a very low number. And
Yeah,
I see people and they say, man, I love your show. I love your show. And you don't want to be in a situation in our community uh, where people have to really beg to keep the lights on. And we know with other public radio and public television right now, it's a crisis. You know, there are people that don't want us on air. There are many people that don't want WPFW on the air because WPFW is candid and honest. Even on Loveology, we're talking about empowering our community. We're talking
right,
about issues and bringing guests on from time to time. We're talking about how we think, what's happening with our health, what's happening with our children, you know, and the ranges of issues that affect our community. So it's important to support it. But we are also talking global issues. And even with Loveology, we
yeah,
play music from Cuba, playing unbelievable music from Cuba,
yeah,
unbelievable music from South Africa, unbelievable music from Brazil, even Kenya and other places, because we want to connect to the diaspora, because our heart and soul is not merely as Americans of African descent, but there's a global diaspora with a rich culture. And we connect to them, and it's a beautiful thing. And the most incredible music, Denise, as much law, and I've been practicing law for 48 years. But
whoa.
as
Me
much
too.
as I can be involved in all the insanity of some of the civil litigation that we're in against in all kind of situations, there's nothing like beautiful music and then bringing it and sharing it with an audience. It's a phenomenal experience.
I want to, I brought you or invited you to talk about music, but I can't miss the opportunity to talk about the other treasure that you've given to the community with teaching or preparing folks who want to become lawyers with the institute that you've created. Talk a little bit about, and that's been going on for several years. I mean, you're a man who works all day in the courtroom and then serves the community in a lot of different ways. But talk about, is it the Thurgood Marshall?
It's Charles Hamilton Houston
Charles Hamilton Houston, right?
Law School Preparation Program.
Right, right. How's it going? And tell
It's
us a
going
little bit.
well. In fact, I'm teaching this week in the evenings. Our program is a summer program. It's 7 weeks, and it's an introduction. We prepare students who are going to law school. As you know, I'm from Philadelphia, and I'm a first-generation lawyer. But when I went to law school, I realized that we have to do better to prepare our students. So when I finished law school, uh, and I was in graduate law school here at Georgetown, I began to do a tutorial for Howard students who were going to law school, but in 1980 we formalized it. So since 1980, Dean Bellamy over at Georgetown has been partnering with me to do the Charles Hamilton Houston prep program. It's an incredible program. This is my fifth, today is will be my fourth night. Classes are 6:30 to 9:30, but let me tell you what it's done. Since 1980, we've graduated over 600 students from CHH, as we call it, named, of course, affectionately after the late Charles Hamilton Houston, an attorney here, DC based, who was former dean at Howard's Law School, mentor to many lawyers, but a lawyer who championed the civil rights litigation leading up to Brown. And so our program is named after him because he understood the role of law to our empowerment struggle, particularly in areas of education. So our program is 7 weeks. We've graduated over 600 students who've gone to over 60 law schools: Howard, Harvard, Stanford, Virginia, Georgetown, American, Texas Southern, and the like. It's an incredible experience. The 7-week program includes introduction to the study of law, torts, civil procedure, contracts, legal research. The students take 3 exams. They argue and write. They write and argue an appellate brief. And the winners of our appellate brief competition argue in the DC Court of Appeals before a panel of judges
Wow.
before they go to law school. So we do a lot to prepare them. The beautiful thing about it is that we don't make money doing it. It's not the objective. We have over 8 professors now, and the students get 100 class hours. And trust me, it does an incredible amount. It is an incredible contribution that we give to the students, and they're much better prepared when they go to law school, which means they're going to have a much more successful legal education career, and it's going to also inform their professional career. And one of the things I like to say as we complete this first week, the first reported case, and you're a lawyer, so you understand, is the reported Scott v. Sanford, Dred Scott v. Sanford case from 1857, United States Supreme Court. And I like to tell people it's Dred and Harriet Scott.
Oh,
And it's an interesting case. It's a seminal case, but our students get that foundationally. A lot of people think it's because of the racial dynamics, but it's also a great teaching case because it
yeah.
involves state courts, it involves federal courts, it involves the movement between in these courts, the flow in these courts, the appellate consideration and the reversals, and then what we know culminated in Justice Taney's horrific, horrible 1857 Supreme Court case where he not only said that the no rights that the Constitution was bound to respect, but that that people of African descent were enslaved for their own benefit.
Don, I hate to cut you off, but and that's a great segue to a Juneteenth conversation. But the work that you're putting in is still a connection to the love that you give to the community, and that loveology theme that you do on Wednesday nights, and that you're doing every night with the students that you're working with. So I just wanted to have this opportunity to talk to you about, you know, the balancing act that you're doing with music and soothing the mind, and also preparing people for their legal careers. I wish I had it when I was on my way to law
I
school.
appreciate it. Well, we are completing now our 47th consecutive summer law program.
Wow. Yeah, amazing. Congratulations.
Thank
So
you.
I want to again thank you for being with us. Anything you want to share about lithology quickly before we go? You got a program, something, what's coming up next week? Anything
Just,
special?
just the most relaxing, easiest music on the heart and soul. Wednesday nights, 8 to 10. Tune in, support, please support WPFW. And there are 100 plus different programs, lots of information, lots of really incredible people, and lots of beautiful music. And it's really part and parcel is part of this persona of the District of Columbia that very few people really capture. But thank you, Denise, and thank you for your support. And you
Oh,
remember the programs that we've done together with
yeah.
WPFW. Thank you so much.
No, my pleasure. My pleasure. And as folks can see, you can get WPFW at 89.3 on your radio dial, but you can also link in on the internet.
Oh, you
So,
can download the app now, Denise.
oh yeah,
WPFW has an app.
yeah. Then you again anything to make life easier, so you don't have to keep searching for stuff. So that's great. Donald, thank you so very much for being with us.
Thank you. Godspeed.
All right, same to you.
Bye.
Bye bye. And so we're going to continue with our music theme before we go to the topic of home ownership. And I understand that our guest with our home ownership guest actually has a connection between jazz and home ownership. So we're going to keep this music thing rolling. But it's my pleasure now to welcome Russell Tolliver, who is the founder and executive director of SoulLife Foundation.
Hi there, it's Russell Taylor. Miss
Taylor,
Denise, how are you?
what did I say? What did I say, Russell?
Oh, it doesn't even matter. It's
Okay,
Taylor.
all right. You know, reading is fundamental. So that's
It's all good. I'm happy to be here, spend some time with you. And your last guest, Donald, he was, man, what a force. What a force.
Yeah,
Holds.
amazing. I mean, and that art behind you is fantastic. I really
Oh,
love that.
thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you very much. All Black artists. Yeah, thank you.
Well, you know, we when we do our thing, we do our thing. So, and it's all about supporting, right? It's all about the
Yes.
support of the artist. And so, I am so glad that you're here to talk about Soulversations,
Mhm.
program that's going to take place at Union Market in celebration of Juneteenth. Give us the story. What's going to happen?
Yes, so Soulversations was born during COVID in 2020. Kimberly Douglas, Howard alum, she was at the Arc. She gave us our first break, our first green light. We were able to record 2 seasons, and it's essentially I am a performing, touring artist, singer first.
Okay.
And during COVID, all of us wanted to work, and it wasn't just about money. It was like we were missing the stage and we were missing performing. So I threw together a treatment, and then we had a talk series where we also performed with the full band on stage, and we recorded and uploaded to YouTube. And the difference with this particular show is that I'm an artist and I'm speaking to artists, some of them my friends, and we talk about things that we don't really get to talk about because we show up and we perform. So that's how Soulversations was born. And then we took a little twist and turn through public radio here in Washington, D.C. And now we've landed on Sirius XM. So Soulversations is on Sirius XM, the Silk Channel now. And we started with the Juneteenth celebration 3 years ago. And we are now on our 2nd year at Union Market. We're on the plaza. And it's just an intergenerational community celebration, radical Black joy. It is based on African-American experience and culture, but all are welcome. Everybody's welcome from young to old, and it's a party. We got performers. We have Deborah Bond. We have the go-go and rock group called Hue. We have the celebration of the 50th anniversary of Stevie Wonder Songs in the Key of Life, which is revolutionary. It's one of the greatest, I would say it's canon for Black music. It's one of the greatest records, in my opinion, created. So that's Soulversations.
Yeah,
Free.
you know,
99.
that's the part we need to say that one more time.
Free 99, Denise. Free 99.
So this is going to take place. Is it next Saturday?
Next Friday.
Friday. Okay.
Next Friday. Yeah,
Right.
Union Market on Dock 5. So it's the plaza behind the actual warehouse where the food stalls are.
Okay. We have to remember and do our job because this is a national holiday. So
yes, indeed.
We gotta. I mean, there are forces out there that want to change that, but we can't let that happen.
This is why it's so important right now.
Mm-hmm.
We need to celebrate radical. We need to not only celebrate but expression for the world to see radical Black joy, because it's important that we fight, but it's also important that we reprieve and feed our spirits, collectively. It's very important.
And with that, Russell, I mean, you've had, I'm sure, great participation in the past, but what is it that you find that people like most about one Soulversations, but also, you know, the event at Union Market?
Um, I think it's the humanity. One of my life mandates in my arts practice is that I just drive straight to the humanity of things. It's a blessing and a curse that I can tap in. And all of the events that I am part architect of is important that there is a collective emotional experience in some way, that there's interconnectedness. So when you come to events that Soulversations produces, which is the brand, people always walk away changed. That is, again, part of my mandate as an arts practitioner. When I'm performing, well, I mean, I've performed throughout Asia, throughout the United States, the Caribbean, throughout, excuse me, Eastern Europe and abroad. My mandate, even when there are language barriers, is that my job is, when I go in, I'm supposed to change something about your outlook or experience. So when you leave, you feel or are different. And I think that is the challenge. And that's why people show up,
Yeah.
because they know what they're getting.
You know, I don't think anything does that better than music.
Oh man.
Even medicine can't, I think, bring repair to the body more than music can. I mean, it'll help,
Agree.
you know, for the moment, but music is something different there. And I'm not a musician. I just like to listen,
Mhm.
you know, and hear. That's why I love Donald's show and love what you're doing. And so, I mean, talk about that a little bit. How have you found music to be sort of healing for people?
I think, well, because we are in the midst of Black Music Month, which is
Yeah.
amazing, and also something worth celebrating, I would like to speak specifically to Black music. I think, much like Black culture, and when I say Black, I mean African American people that are descendants of the clay of formerly enslaved of the South and around the U.S. We there is we inform global culture, and our music is part of that. And I think our music holds so much richness. It is all the things that I spoke about that will be present at the Juneteenth festival:
Right.
joy, struggle, tension, resilience, love, sex, all of the things. And I think that when it comes to, because of Black culture, Black music, I think that's what makes it so special about our music. We inform. James Baldwin said at one point in his illustrious career, and I'm paraphrasing here, is that the artist's responsibility is to give language and to life that people that are not arts practitioners don't have the language for.
Mhm.
So I kind of jumbled that up a little bit, but the point is, we have a job to make people feel, access emotions, all the span of emotions that they can't normally access in their day to day. That is what makes music special, but particularly because of the Black experience, that's what makes Black music special. And I celebrate that every day of my life.
Yeah, and so I mean, I don't know what the connection is, but I also want you to talk to us about the Master Teachers
Oh
Foundation
yes,
Your Soul exhibit.
yes. So
Yeah.
I also have a connection to Donald in this regard, because I'm actually born and raised in Philadelphia,
Oh, okay.
and with the master teachers at Manifest, which is also a Black owned facility in the Union Market District, we have presented for the first time in Washington, D.C., a photo exhibition of Ron St. Clair. In 1979 was the first Black Music Month celebration at Jimmy Carter's White House. And Deanna Williams was one of the co-authors, who was married at the time to Gamble. And she's a WHUR alum as well.
Exactly.
Um, so Ron St. Clair was the only photographer allowed on the grounds of the White House during that first celebration. And he's never shown these photos in Washington, D.C., even though they've happened here. And he's from Washington, D.C. So we put him up for the whole month of June. It's a free exhibition, and that was in partnership with Humanities DC, the Black Music Collective, which is a Grammy community, Black Genius Foundation, Samoa Eccleston, and of course SoulLife Foundation, which is my foundation, which I am the executive director. So that's up for the whole month of June. And in our opening reception, we had a talk back where we had Deanna Williams and we had Ron St. Clair, who's 87 years old and just as spicy and spunky as you want to be. And it was excellent. We had a great time.
That's wonderful. There's a lot going on next Friday there.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, are there any rules, anything people need to know when they come? Can they just come in? Is it, what's
We have a RSVP
okay,
because there are incentives for you responding, even though it's free. There are incentives, and we do have capacity. We have to monitor our capacity. So
right?
there is a link. You can find us at sign soul_versations on Instagram, also on Facebook, also on YouTube. And you'll be able to access any of the information about the festival. The rule that we have is no hate. And we have a whole list of all of the things that you are not allowed to hate. If you come there with an attitude, you may as well stay home because we only get doing Black Radical Joy on Friday the 19th.
Wow. Russell, before I let you go, tell me a little bit about or share a little bit about your music career briefly. I know you said you traveled around the world
Oh,
and
yeah.
Philadelphia, but tell folks a little bit more about you.
Sure. So I am a soul singer. I am an independent artist by choice. I'm working on my 7th and 8th project release concurrently. Just got the masters of my next project. It's called the Vulnerability Project. It is an exploration of Black male vulnerability and emotionality. But I'll come back and talk to you about that another time.
Okay.
But that is my latest project. Is going to be coming really soon. I am VH1 You Ought to Know artist alum. I've been Grammy considered. I'm a Grammy governor for the Grammys Recording Academy. I'm an advocate for music and particularly, independent artist rights. Let's see what else. I've traveled all over. I've played Moscow. It's no better experience than playing in a city for the first time and having an audience that doesn't even speak your language sing your words back to you.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. There's no better feeling.
So you say you're from Philly, but where are you now?
Oh, I live in Washington, D.C. I was born and raised in Philadelphia, but I live in D.C. Ward 5.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Good.
Mm-hmm.
So we can reach out to you anytime, almost.
Oh, anytime.
Wonderful. Well, I appreciate you being with us and sharing this, and we're going to help to continue to promote it.
Please, thank you.
And
thank you so much for having me, Denise. I appreciate it.
Oh no, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. So, get some rest.
Yeah, exactly.
All righty. Thanks
All right.
a lot, Russell. Take care. So, this has been good. This has been good. As soon as I get off the show, I'm going to go to all the different stations and see how I can find our guests. I have to wait until next Wednesday, I guess, to hear Leftology from Donald, but maybe there is a way I can hear it without waiting. Anyhow, having said that, we're going to transition to home ownership. But Maya Brennan, who's the Chief Housing Officer of the Coalition for Nonprofit Housing and Economic Development, I want to welcome her to the program. Maya, how are you?
Hi, Denise. I'm doing great, and it is such a pleasure and an honor to be here with you.
Likewise, I saw your note, and I said, okay, since we're going to make this an easy transition, because I want to know how you connect jazz to home ownership.
Yes. So I live in Ward 5 also. I'm in Michigan Park, and just around the corner from us, 2 doors down, Andrew Nathaniel White III, one of the great multi-instrumentalist jazz artists and a long-standing self-published and just prolific artist, Coltrane, he's just I can't stop saying how many good things there are about him. I'm going to trip over my tongue about it. But he bought his house by, in part, being a guy who was like, I'm not going to run for a label. I'm going to do my own stuff. I'm going to make sure that the money from my music comes back to myself. And then that house also became the place where he ran his whole business out of. And so he was just an absolute fantastic member of that Michigan Park community and the international jazz community.
Yeah.
And the idea that being a musician who was so committed to to doing his stuff and being the best self-promoter possible, and the only one who was going to make a dime off of his own work, or the one who was going to make the most dimes off of his own work, got him that home, and then the home helped fuel the work itself.
Oh, yeah, that I appreciate you for connecting those dots, because people don't always, well, Russell says he lives in Ward 5, but, and Donald lives in DC as well. But knowing that, there's the benefits of the music that you perform and you give to others can also benefit you.
Yep.
And home ownership, I believe, and that's what I want to talk to you about, that this is not only an asset, but it's something that, helps to fuel the work that we do. So let me stop trying to pontificate on stuff I don't really know what I'm talking about, and let you tell us a little bit about, what you do. Well, first tell us about the coalition.
Yeah. So
what you do there.
The coalition is a nonprofit organization that's been around in DC for more than 25 years at this point. We are dedicated to all manner of housing and economic development and workforce development. And so from the housing side of our work, well, actually from all sides of our work, we are just a whole group of people who are dedicated to driving a love of DC and a love of DC's communities through everything. So our CEO and president, Steve Gaudet, is another Ward 5 native. We are just all of us big boosters of DC, and feel like if everybody in DC can thrive, then DC can thrive. But we only get there through all of us.
Yeah. And so, I'm not sure. Ward 5 seems to be an area where there's a significant amount of homes, right?
Mhm.
Compared to other places like where I am in Ward 8, where there are a lot of apartments and what have you. And so people there seem to have gotten the message about the importance of homeownership.
Mhm.
What does the coalition say about homeownership?
So home ownership can be a major tool for both stability and for asset building. And, it doesn't have to be a single family home like a lot of us have in Ward 5, or, folks have in other parts of the city or the region. It can be a condo, it can be a townhouse. One of my best friends is a homeowner in Ward 8, living in that townhouse type of space. You can find this all over DC. The trick, and the trickier and trickier thing as we move along, is being able to get into the door. So for our perspective at the coalition, we work on things like making sure we're advocating for the home purchase assistance program and other forms of down payment assistance in the budget. We are so thrilled that both the mayor and then the council put in more towards that home purchase assistance program than had been there last year. So we're hopeful that that gets more people in to be able to buy that home for the first time. But we're also doing a lot of work on what do you do afterwards, right? A lot of folks, this happened to me, this happened to, anybody that you can name who doesn't have, a whole list of family wealth behind them. You buy that home, and then the first major repair happens. First major system goes down. The roof starts leaking, the water goes down, whatever it is. You don't have assets in that home yet to take out home equity, and you put all your money into getting into the home in the first place. And so we're trying to also identify what are the tools and the awareness, and what do we need to do maybe better to make sure that we're helping people be able to get those repairs and fund those repairs and be alert to them.
Yeah, one of the stories that I've been reading a lot of history lately, Maya, and I understand, that for particularly African Americans, but I figure for women, for other groups, the challenge to that first home purchase was really great. There were a lot of barriers that were in place.
Mm-hmm.
But there was such a movement then to own a piece of land, to own a home. Is the passion still as strong today as it was then, or are people just saying, it doesn't matter whether I own or rent?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people started feeling more skeptical after the foreclosure crisis of the early 2000s. There were folks who worked hard to get into that home. and then found themselves having lost it all and wondering if it was worth it. I think we're at a point right now where there are many people who are striving and thinking, I really want to own a home. I want that stability for myself, for my kids, for transferring generational wealth. And there are a lot of folks who are like, I don't know. Can I manage to get in the door to that home?
Yeah.
And what we would encourage, the same sort of thing that I would encourage about any major life choice, is like, look into it, figure out what's there. Don't necessarily buy the hype of somebody who's been through the best version of the experience or the worst version of the experience. Go have some homeownership counseling or talk to a lot of folks, try to figure this out. If your job is going to move you around all over the place and you're not comfortable becoming the landlord of that home, if you need to move away for a little bit and have it become a rental, if you're not going to sell it, then maybe renting is a better solution for you. But if you're feeling like, no, I could do that, I want the stability, I want to know what my bills are going to look like in the future, but I'm comfortable with the fact that I may have to save a lot or borrow a lot for that roof, because that's the sort of thing that a homeowner gets stuck with, even though the monthly bills through the mortgage often become much more predictable.
In addition, because we're sometimes the Washington Informer, we publish the what do you call it, the tax listing, right? Or get behind on their taxes, and the homes are sold. And that used to be considered, there was a lot of conversation once upon a time about that was one of the biggest ways in which people were losing their home because not paying the taxes. Where does that fall now? Do you all look at that at all?
So we haven't looked at that a whole lot. We often refer to our partners in the community-based organization space and folks that do homeowner legal support around that. The taxes and utilities can both be serious costs for a homeowner. If you are seeing your utility bills go up and you think it's not just because the rates are high, but you're an owner and like, maybe I have a leak or something like that, there are organizations, there are the Rebuilding Togethers and the Yahads and the Marshall Heights Community Development Organization. There's all kinds of groups around that you might be able to say, hey, what do you know about how I figure out about repairs?
Yeah.
On the tax side of the situation, that is something that is a probably much bigger can of worms, but the same places would probably be able to help direct. And in fact, when people contact us, you can go to thecoalitiondc.org and find out how to contact any of us. We will also help kind of go down those lines to figure out who should you contact.
Yeah. Before I let you go, we still have a few more minutes though, but you all have a home purchase assistance program that you administer there, right?
Well, we do not have that. We have a working group focused on that home purchase assistance program, trying to make sure that we are understanding what's going on with DC's home purchase assistance program. We've recently had a home repair program where we had gotten funding to be able to help mostly seniors deal with roof repairs and mold and things like that. And we are hoping to be able to get the funding to do that again. In the meantime, DC does have a program, and we we'd love to work with DHCD to help folks become aware of their program for repairs, as well as make sure that program is as easy as possible to work with.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, the home repair program, because I know during a lot of these candidate forums, people brought that up as an issue, particularly, as you said, the seniors who, one, don't have the resources, they're on fixed income, and their houses are, they're having major issues with their home that they cannot afford to repair. Right. So what was the experience like for you all? I mean, did you find that there were lots of people knocking on your door? And
there were lots of people knocking on the door, lots of people who I would run into folks all over the community who knew I worked at the coalition, and they were like, hey, I heard you have a senior home repair program. I'm like, yes, let me tell you how to get in touch with folks. And so we ended up being able to repair more than 100 homes with the amount of grant dollars that we got in for it, and helped folks with, just major situations where roof leaks had been going on for so long. They'd been waiting to figure out how they could manage it for so long that there were, walls that needed to be replaced from mold, kitchen floors that had gotten warped from it, all that sort of stuff. And so being able to make sure that at the end of that, we know that more than 100 seniors in DC are able to live in their homes safely again and feel like this is an asset, and maybe be able to have it be that asset that you can transfer along to your kids, to your grandkids, to your next generation. That's just priceless. And that's why we would so love to be able to find another grant partner for a program like that to spark back up, or just help make sure that DHCD's program is as strong and well funded as possible for people to use that.
Wonderful, Maya. I really appreciate you coming on, particularly at the last minute. And when we had reached out to Steve, so at this point, I think there were a lot of things we could have talked about. But before we let you go, is there something that you would like to share with us that we haven't talked about so far, that folks need to know about the coalition and the work that you all do?
Yeah, so everyone is more than welcome to contact us. We do work with owners, with builders, with realtors, with renters, with tenants associations. We are really a big tent about DC housing and economic development and workforce development issues. So whether you're a small business and want to get in touch about that, my colleague Yvette is on that side. Anything on the housing side, you can get in touch with me, and Steve is a great person overhead all of it. If you've got an issue that's about people and places in DC, and you have an idea that you want to do something to make things better, we are all about partnering and driving those sorts of things forward. So please always do get in touch, and hopefully we'll see you around the community as well.
Well, we want to appreciate you for joining us today. And at some point, we might want to get you back on and talk about, the whole mission of workforce housing, how that's kind of evolving in the District of Columbia. That was another issue that, the candidates spoke about a lot. So
absolutely. Oh, there are so many housing issues to talk about, and so many great ways to move forward. I mean, we are just, we can't wait to see what the future holds, because there's a lot of people who love DC and are so invested in making sure that DC can continue to be the great place for Native Washingtonians and everybody else who has adopted it. So
thanks a lot. We don't have to wait until next June to have these conversations.
We do not. We surely do not.
Right. So we will have you back. Thank you, Maya, so much for being with us today. Maya
Thank
Brennan.
you so much.
Yes. We appreciate it. All right. Have a great day.
You too.
All righty. So I want to thank you, all of our incredible guests, for being with us today. I think we've had a great conversation about music with Donald Temple and Russell Taylor, and made the connected the dots between music and home ownership, and talking a little bit more about home ownership with Maya Brennan. And so I've enjoyed the show. I hope that you all did too, and that you got something out of it. Again, I invite you to remember to follow us on social media, to subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm going to stop now because we were supposed to have Sounds of Blackness on. They have a new Juneteenth song that they have released, and we just happen to have a little bit of it that we're going to share with you. So we're going to close it out with that. I want you to have a great weekend. Stay cool. If you're in the DMV, there's a lot happening downtown, so follow the streets, and because there's going to be places where you cannot drive, so keep that in mind. Be safe, and have a wonderful weekend. Thank you.